Hare Krishna, Shri Gurudev, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Yajnadhanishta Prabhu, are we ready to start the class now?
We'll give a short introduction, Mataji, of Maharaj to the students.
Sure.
Hare Krishna Maharaj ji.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, this is Aarti.
Huh?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Who is speaking?
Maharaj, my name is Aarti. I am
Aarti.
from UK. Aarti.
Oh, Archie, how are you?
Good, thank you. And I'm so sorry, I'm calling you from my office, so I'm not in proper Vaishnav sari and tilak.
I don't see that. I'm only seeing Archie, that's all.
Thank you.
Yeah. So can we start now? We're waiting for somebody.
Yes, Maharaj. Actually, Bimla Prasad Prabhu will join shortly, and he'll give the introduction, introduce you to the class, and then we'll start, Maharaj. He's
Okay.
joining now, Maharaj.
Okay. Gurujan Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, Maharaj.
What are you doing here?
I came to have your darshan and your transcendental voice. I want to hear.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Very happy to see you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj,
Same
please
here,
have my
Maharaj. How is
respect.
your health, Maharaj?
Ah, Krishna's mercy. We are keeping us. Hare Krishna. Everybody.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisance to your feet.
Thank you. Rukmini.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble message. This is Bimla Prasad Das Maharaj. I'm sorry Maharaj, my camera is not working somehow. Very sorry Maharaj.
No
So welcome to all the devotees for this Bhakti Śāstrī program. This is the first day of the first unit. And as we can already see that His Holiness Bhakti Dhir Damodar Swami Maharaj is with us. And Maharaj, as you all already familiar with Maharaj, because we already, I believe you have already read the small introduction that we sent about Maharaj. All I can say about Maharaj, my personal experience with Maharaj regarding Shastric courses. I've been a student in Bhakti Vaibhav and Bhakti Vedanta also at present. So Maharaj is very humorous, and he makes his point without hurting anybody. So that's is something which very much stands out. So I heartily welcome Maharaj, and I pray that all of us can learn, and our learning for this Bhakti Śāstrī can bring us closer to Srila Prabhupada and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. So without much ado, I invite His Holiness Bhakti with Dhir Damodar Swami Maharaj to take on the proceedings. Okay, there's this one small anecdote I remember about Maharaj. This year while we were studying Bhakti Vedanta, and Maharaj asked us a question that, okay, what kind of mercy is better? Mercy coming from the back and mercy coming from the front. So I remember I answered, Maharaj, doesn't matter as long as mercy is coming. And Maharaj laughed and he said, yes, it's true, but since I'm teaching, so you have to understand there is a difference. And then he said, that mercy which comes from the back is more powerful. So I leave it there with to Maharaj. The floor is yours, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Thank you. Jaya Mother Punjabi Jaya Jagacharya, Stuta Rasita Sisimati Divangis, Scon Founder Charya Jagadguru Sisi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pariva Jagacharya, Stuta Rasita Sisimati Divangis, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananda Gaudiya Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridasa Ki Jai. Prem Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Shyam Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mathura Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Yamuna Maya Ki Jai, Ganges Maya Ki Jai, Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Prema Anandi. All glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glory to Sri Sri Guru, Sri Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pita Vitale Sumata Bhakti Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Chaitanya Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Mirandasya Jnana Salakaya Chakshulunvitam Vina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhistam Sapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Bhagyam Yatati Swapadantika Vandeham Sri Gurun Sri Yuta Parakam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Sajivam Sahitam Savadutam Harijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Param Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakantam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopisa Gopika Kantara Kanta Namasute Tapakanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Visavana Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vantapal Pataru Vyasta Kripa Sunyayivacha Patitanam Pavnivyu Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Cities Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Sitting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita Cities, Chapter 1, beginning introduction. We'll begin from introduction to Bhagavad Gita and see our screen. This introduction to Bhagavad Gita, we are going to go through the whole introduction today. Next. So introduction beginning from Mangala Charana, which we already recited. And then we'll have 7 topics. The introduction was 69 paragraphs. 1 to 12, 13 to 26, 27 to 31, 32 to 41, 42, 49, 50 to 62, and 63 to 69. Next. So topic 1 is Lord Sri Krishna, Arjuna, and the Bhagavad Gita cities. So properly explained here in the purport. And in the Bhagavad Gita, if you go down After Mangalacharana, if you come down a bit, you see, we are looking at the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. The first item. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita itself. It is just like this. If we want to take a particular medicine, then we have to follow the directions written on the label. We cannot take the medicine according to our own whim or the direction of a friend. It must be taken according to the directions of the label or the directions given by a physician. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita should be taken or accepted as it is, directed by the speaker himself. Who the speaker? The speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Sri Krishna. He is mentioned on every page of Bhagavad Gita as a Supreme Personality of God. In other words, if we want to understand this world, anyone who wants to understand this world, anyone who wants to live peacefully in this material world, free from the dualities of material existence, must read Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who does not lead his or her life based on Bhagavad Gita will remain miserable in this world. Every product that is manufactured comes with a label, the manual. That manual contains the process how to operate that machine. Similarly, Krishna created this material world. How to understand this material world? What is the connection between the living entity Krishna and the universe? It's explained in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna gave us the manual. The manual Krishna gave to us is Bhagavad Gita. Until one read Bhagavad Gita, we will remain miserable, perplexed, and bewildered without the future. Therefore, Prabhupada said here, we have to understand the spirit of Gita within the Gita itself. It is given to us by Krishna himself. No one can give a manual of a product that he or she does not produce. If the person who produced the particular object will give the manual. So no one can teach us anything about this material world. No one can teach us about ourselves, about Krishna, except Krishna himself. So Krishna gave us Bhagavad Gita. So anyone who wants to be happy in this world, anyone who wants a direction in this world, anyone who wants to be free from dualities of material world, must read Bhagavad Gita. Those who are not studying Gita, they will remain baffled, confused, and bewildered. Is it clear? Is it clear for us? Yeah. So all of you are doing the right thing by studying Bhagavad Gita. And if one has not studied Bhagavad Gita, you are speculating. One will remain a speculator until we study Bhagavad Gita. From devotees who have studied the Gita under a devotee, because the system is parampara. And the whole chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, parampara. Krishna is going to teach chapter 4. So, parampara. So for us to understand Gita, we have to meet a devotee who knows it. Then everything will become very easy, very simple. The spirit of Gita. You see, here is explained. And the first topic is Krishna tells Arjuna that he is relating the supreme secret to him because Arjuna is his friend and devotee. Two qualifications we need to understand Bhagavad Gita. Two qualifications. Without this qualification, one cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. Just like if you are not a graduate, you cannot practice law, you cannot study law. To study law, you must be a graduate first. Similarly, to understand Bhagavad Gita, one must be a friend and a devotee of Krishna. Why is it necessary to be a devotee and a friend? Why is it necessary? It is necessary because if one is envious of somebody, we wouldn't like to hear anything good about the person. We don't want to hear anything good about the person. We want to hear every bad thing about the person. We don't have a good disposition towards any person whom we don't have a friendly relationship with. Therefore, if one is not a friend, we will not have a good disposition or will not be a good listener. We will see the need to listen to Krishna. And even if we want to listen to Krishna, we are going to listen to Krishna casually, not with a deep concentration to understand. We will not have appreciation for it. Therefore, it is necessary to be a devotee and a friend. Then we can understand this science. What is this science? It is Rahasham. He etat uttamam. It is Bhakti Smishakati. Rahasham. He etat uttamam. Rahasham, it is confidential. It is a mystery that needs to be properly understood. To have the qualification to understand, one must be a devotee, one must be a friend. A friend has a good disposition towards his friend. So this qualification is necessary for anyone who wants to understand Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna makes it very clear here that this is a qualification Arjuna had, that he was able to understand Gita. If you don't have this qualification, if you don't have a friendly relationship with Krishna, and we don't have a devoted mind to Krishna, we are going to study Gita academically, philosophically, with the background of knowledge on a Gyan platform, without Bhakti. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is different. How Arjuna had Gita and was able to understand it will become our experience if we follow the footsteps of Arjuna. A friend and a devotee is very, very, very important. There are three classes of transcendentalists, namely the Jnani, the Yogi, and the Bhakta, or the impersonalist, the meditator, or the devotee. Here the Lord clearly tells Arjuna that he is making him the first receiver of a new parampara, disciple succession, because the old succession was broken. It was the Lord's wish, therefore, to establish another parampara in the same line of thought that was coming down from the sun god to others. What's the purpose of Gita? Why Christians put the Gita to Arjuna? What is the purpose? Yes, it has the qualification. It's a manual of Krishna. Yes, it's the manual that helps to explain the Gita, to help us to understand. And properly explained. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita should be taken up in a spirit of devotion. One should not think that he is equal to Krishna, nor should he think that Krishna is an ordinary personality or even a very great personality. But Sri Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So according to the statement of Bhagavad Gita or the statement of Arjuna, the person who is trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita, we should at least be theoretically accept Sri Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. And with that submissive spirit, we can understand the Bhagavad Gita. Unless one reads the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita in a submissive spirit, it is very difficult to understand Gita. Because it is a great mystery. Yes, we already mentioned it. Just what is the Gita? What is the Bhagavad Gita? The purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to deliver mankind from the nation's material existence. That is the spirit. That is the purpose of Gita. To deliver us from material existence. This is the purpose. We know Arjuna was very disturbed and confused. He was in anxiety, serious anxiety, how to perform his duty perfectly, how to, in the course of performing one's duty perfectly, there are so many things one has to deal with. For example, Arjuna was to deal with his grandfather Bhismate, who took care of him when he was 100% helpless as a child. Took care of him, completely made him a man, and then his teacher who trained him to become what he is, a famous and mighty devotee of Lord Krishna. Arjuna is to face them in battle. It's something to look into carefully. And Arjuna found himself in the perplexing situation. So Krishna gave the Gita. Krishna gave the Gita to deliver mankind from the nations of material existence. Next. Topic 2, paragraph 13 to 26. If anyone has any question as I'm speaking, you can let me know, and we will attend to it. Next topics.
I have a question, Maharaj.
Rafin
Can
would-
we ask in the?
Huh?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please
Now?
ask me. The
Okay.
question.
Okay. My
Now you
question
can
is.
ask me.
Okay. My question is that generally it says that when you read more about Krishna or Bhagavad Gita, you become more calmer and you don't get anxious during the crisis time. But I wonder why Arjuna, who was an ardent devotee of Lord Krishna, he had the fortune of being Krishna's friend, then why did he feel anxious when he was on the battleground? Because he should have been ready to deal with the crisis, isn't it? Why did he need knowledge from Krishna to become less anxious about the crisis in his life?
Who?
Arjuna. Why was he anxious?
Thank you. When we go to chapter 1, you'll see, if you watch carefully, you will see that Krishna called Arjuna a conqueror of ignorance. a conqueror of sleep. It was after this that Arjuna dropped his weapon and said, I cannot fight. So if Arjuna has conquered ignorance, why he didn't understand? Why is he lamenting? Why is he in anxiety like I asked him? So why is he miserable? A person who is in knowledge cannot be miserable. Krishna explained that in chapter 2. Krishna addressed Arjuna as one who has conquered ignorance. It is after this Arjuna became miserable.
Yeah.
So what is happening? What is happening is that Arjuna is never miserable. He is representing all of us, not him. He is eternal associate of Krishna. He is never in ignorance. He is already declared as Buddhakesh. So Arjuna lamenting, being in anxiety, being anxious, like you said, is our own situation. He is representing us. Arjuna is representing us, not himself. So he is playing the part of a conditioned soul so that Krishna can speak to us. Look at the questions Arjuna is asking Krishna. A conditioned soul cannot answer an intelligent question. Only a liberated soul can ask the question. So Arjuna is representing us, not himself. Is it clear?
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Very clear.
The same thing Krishna did to Yudhishthira Maharaj. He used him also in Bhagavad. So this method can speak to him for all of us. So it's Krishna's costless mercy for his devotees. And you see, Krishna will not use a conditioned soul to represent him because we are not going to succeed. Krishna will use a pure devotee to represent him because he will succeed. He has the qualification to represent him. So he will succeed in all the trials, all the temptations. A pure devotee is equal to it. The conditions are not equal. So Krishna will not use a conditioned soul to represent him. So Krishna used a pure devotee Arjuna to represent him. So he will represent us perfectly, and at the end, he will show the difference. So Krishna used him to teach us a lesson. Okay, we move to text. The second topic, which is from 18 to 26. 18 to 26. 5 subject matters. Out of these 5 basic subject matters in Bhagavad Gita, as it is, establish that the Supreme Godhead, or Krishna, or Brahman, or the Supreme Controller, or Paramatma, you may use whatever name you like, is the greatest of all. The living beings are in quality like the Supreme Controller. For instance, the Lord has control over the universal affairs of material nature, as will be explained in the later chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Material nature is not independent. She is acting under the directions of the Supreme Lord, as Lord Krishna says. This material nature is working under my direction. When we see wonderful things happening in the cosmic nature, we should know that behind this cosmic manifestation, there is a controller. Nothing could be manifested without being controlled. It is childish not to consider the control. Yes, it is true. It is childish not to not to see the control. It is foolishness. It is foolishness for anyone to think that. I don't know if anyone has ever seen a beautiful garden full of beautiful fresh flowers, and nobody is responsible in taking care of that garden. Or a palatable dish is prepared and so available and displayed for anyone who is interested to eat. And someone comes to tell you that, all these prasadam are here, nobody cooked them, they just come out of chance. Which intelligent person will accept that? That the sun rises every morning, the same time, without being late for a minute, and nobody is in control, who will believe that? Which intelligent person will believe that? So by chance philosophy is due to frustration. It's due to frustration, by chance. Things came by chance, is due to frustration. Ignorance, no knowledge. Nothing came by chance. Nothing could come by chance. All of us sitting here, I'm sure that we have mother and father. We didn't just appear by chance. By chance, everyone just appear. Without mother, without father, just appear by chance. Or you're not going to cook by chance. The food will just appear by chance. You have no money in the pocket by chance. Yeah, look at billions in my hand. By chance, it just came. It just came. Yeah, now I'm a billionaire by chance. I didn't work for it. There's nothing. I didn't inherit it from my father. I didn't work for it. I didn't go to school. I didn't have any company to raise the money. By chance. If everything happening by chance, why are they making so much research and spending billions? Why? Somebody must be responsible for what is happening. That is intelligence. That is knowledge. That is civilization. And this is the teachings about Gita. It should be understood. Nothing happened by chance. Everything happened because. So Krishna is described as the cause of all causes. And when it is said that he is a cause of all causes, he also is the cause of himself. So he caused himself. That is why he is the Supreme God. Yes. Supreme individual consciousness. The position of Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, is that of supreme consciousness. The jivas, or the living entities, being parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, are also conscious. Both the living entity and material nature are explained as Prakriti, the energy of the Supreme Lord. But one of these two, the jiva, is conscious. The other Prakriti is not conscious. That is the difference. Therefore, the jiva Prakriti is called superior because the jiva has consciousness which is similar to the laws. The laws is supreme consciousness. However, and one should not claim that the jiva, the living entity, is also supremely conscious. How? How are we the supreme conscious? How? What is the qualification to say that? What are the qualities we have to say that we are supreme conscious? We don't have the qualification. There is nothing in us which shows that we are the supreme conscious entity. If we are supreme conscious, why do we make mistakes? Why are we afraid? Afraid of what? So yesterday said, Krishna is supremely independent. Therefore, he is not afraid of anything, of anyone, because there's nothing which is equal to him. There's nothing which is above him. But we are afraid. Why are we afraid? Why are we afraid? Because we know very well that there's something there greater than us. There's something there which is greater than us. But Krishna doesn't have to think like that. There's something there greater than him. Therefore, he is completely independent and fearless. But we cannot say like that. We are all dependent. Want to know how we are dependent? Do you want to know we are dependent? Remove the chair from your buttocks. What will happen to you? Remove the chair from your body. What will happen to you?
Yes, Maharaj, we would like to know. Yes.
Yes. So remove the chair. Are you sitting on the chair? Are you sitting on a chair on something?
Yeah, it looks, yes.
What will happen to you if you remove the chair? What will happen to you if you remove the chair?
I mean, you'll fall down.
Fall down. Yes. So we are depending on what? We depend on the chair we are sitting on.
Yeah.
Krishna depend on the chair. Krishna does not depend on the chair. The chair depends on Krishna. When Krishna wears ornament, the ornament becomes valuable, becomes useful. But when we wear ornament, they will become beautiful. So we depend on something, but Krishna never depends on anything. He's fully independent. Therefore, we are not supreme Godhead. We are tiny part and parcel of Krishna. That is our nature, eternally. It is not that tomorrow we are going to become God. We cannot do that because we have not been God before. And Krishna is God always, so he's always God. So we depend on the chair we are sitting on, and the chair depends on who? The chair depends also on something. Yes. The chair, it depends on who, on what?
The floor or the ground.
Yeah, we depend on the earth, Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is independent.
On Krishna.
Ananta says, I depend on Ananta. He's carrying the universe, carrying Mother Earth on his head. And Ananta says he's independent. Ananta is independent? No. It's not. It depends on who?
Balramji.
Balaram. And Balaram depends on who?
Krishna.
Krishna, yes. So Krishna is independent, completely independent, but we are always dependent. See, if I remove the glass from my eyes, I will not read again. So I depend on the glass. Huh? Ras Raman Krishna Prabhu, remove the earphone from my head, you will not hear me again.
Yeah, yes, Maharaj. I won't be able to hear.
Yes, yes. So we are depending on so many things. Where is the independence? Where is the independence? Krishna is the supreme consciousness. So he is independent. Only he is independent. Every one of us, we are depending on something. We depend on something. Something. Yes. Although we are conscious, like Krishna, our consciousness can be contaminated. I would need purification, but Krishna cannot be contaminated. Krishna cannot be contaminated, and he doesn't need to become purified. Krishna does not need to become purified. He doesn't. He is eternally purified, according to Upanishad, Apapa Vidham. He is eternally perfect and pure, and he can purify everything else that. Yesterday, we were talking about Lormachanda. We were talking about Lormachanda yesterday. Hanuman is describing Lormachanda. Hanuman said, there is a touchstone which purify, which check all of that object, make gold purified. But Lormachanda is what? He is a personality that check all good in everything. He is a personality of God that make everything useful, make everything good. He make everything that comes in contact with him pure. That's his position. That is the position of supreme consciousness. So he cannot be contaminated. But we have contaminated consciousness. One cannot say anything about the transcendental world without being free from materially contaminated consciousness. So the Lord is not materially contaminated. Our consciousness at the present moment, however, is materially contaminated. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that we have to purify this materially contaminated consciousness in pure consciousness. Our actions will be dovetailed to the will of the Ishvara, and that will make us happy. It is not that we have to cease all activities. Rather, our activities are to be purified, and purified activities are called Bhakti. Consciousness explained. What is this consciousness? Prabhupada speaking. You're not showing the present one, yes? Yes. 22. Consciousness explained. You know where I am in the Gita? What is this consciousness? We already talk about Krishna, supreme consciousness, and Jiva. We're also conscious, but we are limited. So now we're about what is this consciousness? This consciousness is I am. I am. What is that I am? Then what am I? In contaminated consciousness, I am means I am the Lord of all I survey. Or I am this body. Or I am the enjoyer. But that is not I am. That is not the meaning of I am. I am is different. The world revolves because every living being thinks that he is the Lord and creator of the material world. And what is our qualification for that? We don't have the qualification. How can we claim that? It's just a wishful wish. We are not. We are not. We are not. So the real I is the soul, not this material body, not the ignorance that we possess. We are the Lord. We are the one who should enjoy everything. That is ignorance, and that is our illusion. That has trapped all of us in this material. And that is why the Prabhupada came to remove this nonsense from our head. And Prabhupada speak about sense gratification throughout his scripture, or throughout the whole his purpose. Why it's so important about this? Because that is what is depriving us from our self-interest. Sense gratification steals our self-interest, make us blind to our self-interest, and we don't understand our self-interest. That is the danger of sense gratification. We lose our self-interest. The Prophet came to knock it out, and therefore he has to speak very loud. Sense gratification throughout, so that we can understand what we really are. Consciousness. What is this consciousness? This consciousness is I, the spirit soul, eternal servant of Krishna. That is I. Opposite of this is false ego. That which is the junction between the supreme and the living entity. False ego. That's the meaning of false ego. False consciousness, false ego. All right. The supreme absolute truth, Sri Krishna, 23 to 26. The Brahma Samhita begins in this way. Ishvara Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarva Karan Karanam. Govinda, Krishna is the cause of all causes. He is the prime cause, the primary cause. And it is a very form of eternity, knowledge and grace. Impersonal Brahman realization is the realization of the Sat, eternity, future. Paramatma realization is a realization of Sat, Chit, eternal knowledge. While realization of the personality of God of Krishna is realization of all the transcendental future, Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Eternity, knowledge, and peace. In complete vigraha form. People with less intelligence consider the Supreme Truth to be impersonal, but he is a transcendental person, and this is confirmed in all Vedic scriptures. It is the position of Krishna. Next, topic 3 is the Vedic knowledge. The Vedic knowledge. This will take us from paragraph 27 to 31. 27 to 31. Vedic knowledge is not a question of research. Why? It is infallible. What's the meaning of infallible? Infallible means what?
Means it will always be true in all circumstances, at all time, at all places.
Very good.
It's absolute.
Achutta.
Very good. Thank you.
Infallible means which cannot be refuted at any point of time.
Very good.
Infallible means it is like beyond the 4 defects.
Very good. And what is absolute? Absolute means what? Absolute.
Complete.
Absolute. Huh?
Absolute means covering everything
Complete.
in itself.
Yeah, which means complete. That's what I feel. Absolute means complete in every aspect.
I think this, it is
Absolute.
nothing is beyond it. Means it is the nothing.
Absolute. Yes, it's a common word. The common word we use.
Perfect.
In
Absolute.
its real position. Absolute means in its real position.
All right.
Something perfect.
Okay.
Which is not dependent, which is not relative.
Not dependent. All right. Not relative or comparative. Yes. Sampada Swami. Thank you. Absolute. That which exists at all times without a change. That which exists at all times without change. For example, Krishna is the supreme personality of God. It is absolute knowledge. It's absolute because it cannot change. Living entities, we are eternally parts and parcel of Krishna. That is absolute. It cannot change. We're not going to change it tomorrow. This is absolute. It cannot change. That's absolute. It's beyond time and space. Time cannot affect it. Remain the same, always. Generation by generation is the same. Bhagavad Gita is absolute. Bhagavad Gita is absolute. Krishna didn't tell Arjuna, oh, my dear friend and a devotee, you know, I'm going to teach you something I forgot to tell the sun god. I'm going to tell it to you. Krishna didn't say that. Krishna said, I'm going to tell you something I have already told to a sun god. I didn't say what? That's absolute. That is absolute. It will not change. It will not deteriorate. Never affected. So our body is not absolute because it will change. The material is not absolute because it will change. Happiness and this is not absolute because it will change. They will change. Time can change it. Absolute means time cannot change it. It's eternal. It remains like that. That is the position of Krishna. And that is the Vedic knowledge. That is Vedic knowledge. So Prabhupada said here, you cannot get it by experimentation. It's infallible. Not by experiment. You cannot make experiments to understand Vedic knowledge. You cannot make experiments. Otherwise, our scientists will have been the first pure devotees before all of us. but they are not. They are fools and dry because they don't know the process. Our research work is imperfect because we are researching things with imperfect senses. That's our disqualification. We have to accept perfect knowledge, which comes down as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita by the Parampara, disciple succession. We have to receive knowledge from the proper source in disciple succession, beginning with the Supreme Spiritual Master, the Lord Himself, and handed down to a succession of spiritual masters. Arjuna, a student who took lessons from Lord Sri Krishna, accepted everything that he says without contradicting him. Why Arjuna is not in their altar? In Parampara. Why Arjuna is not in their altar? Why you don't have Arjuna in the altar? You have Swami, you have your spiritual master in the altar. Why Arjuna is not there? He started our Sampradaya. The Gita we are having now was first given to him, and we have the chance to hear now. Why he's not in your altar?
Maharaj, sorry, what's the question? If you could repeat that question, please.
Yes, I will repeat it 100 times, don't worry. Why Arjuna is not in your altar? The altar you are doing your worship every day. Arjuna is there?
No.
Why
Because Arjuna is not God. Arjuna is not God.
Why is not there?
He is a devotee of Krishna.
Yes, so your spiritual master is the devotee of Krishna.
Yeah.
So why you put him there? You don't put Arjuna.
Or maybe he represents a common man or common personalities, because as you said,
Maharaj, as you had said in the quite beginning of the class, that Arjuna represents us. We all are representatives of Arjuna. That's why.
Thank you.
Maharaj, there are so many other acharyas also are not there in our altar, but we follow them, we respect them. We
Very good, very good, very good, very good. Yes, this is study. It's a study, not a lecture. So we should study. We should learn many things. It's a study. There are two types of sampradayas. There are two types. There's a traditional one, and the spiritual one. The traditional one is Kshatriya type, is where Arjuna is coming from. That is why you're not in the altar. You have your Gurudev because you come from the spiritual one, from the spiritual sampradaya. The spiritual sampradaya. It is a customary sampradaya. It's a spiritual sampradaya. Arjuna is a Kshatriya. So he's coming from that sampradaya. That is why he's not in your altar. The Guru is coming from the spiritual side, so he is in your altar. Both of them are devotees of Krishna.
Maharaj, can you
Maharaj, if you could come again regarding traditional sampradayas.
I said there are two types. There are two types of sampradayas. Two types. Traditional one and the spiritual one. So Arjuna is coming from the traditional one, the customary one, the Kshatriya. That is why he's not there. And the spiritual master is coming from the spiritual one, the spiritual sampradaya. That is why he puts him in the
Maharaj, can you give some more details regarding traditional or customary sampradaya?
Huh?
If you could expand a bit on this traditional sampradaya or the customary sampradaya, just a bit.
Traditional sampradaya, customary sampradaya is you have that in India. Cool, what do you call it? Cool Devi, cool.
Family priest.
Yes.
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 Okay,
That is the traditional one. So it's a customary one, not spiritual. But
can we call them, Maharaj, Karm Kandis? Can we call them Karm Kandis?
yes, all the Pandits that come from that traditional one. And you see that they don't have. Yes.
But how come Arjun is a part? How come we see that Arjun is from traditional Sampradaya, not from because of the Kshatriya just? Because we see that there are devotees more in Kshatriya communities, and then they come in spiritual Sampradaya also. So why come? I mean, we call Arjun is a part of traditional Sampradaya, not spiritual one.
I mentioned he's a Kshatriya. It's coming from Kshatriya.
I mean, like Vishwamitra Muni is also Kshatriya, and then he became Vishwamitra Muni, and he's referred to as Guru of Lord Ramachandra. So therefore, I wanted to ask. Vishwamitra Muni.
Vishwamitra Muni.
Vishwamitra.
He's a traditional. He comes from traditional, not spiritual. He's traditional.
Okay. Okay.
Maharaj, then is it like it is dependent on the Varnashram?
Yeah, it's within Varnashram. It's within Varnashram. Yes.
So for spiritual Sampradaya, one must be a Brahmin.
Yes. Yeah.
So one is like we see in our Sampradaya, there are many, people who are from, like we see some devotees, acharyas are called Thakura. And we heard that they are called Thakura because they were born in rich aristocratic families, landlords. Or in a way, they were involved in Vaishya families. But still they come in our Sampradaya family.
No, it's not necessary. It's not just because I come from a rich family. Haridas Thakura didn't come from a rich family. He's Thakura. Thakura is a learned person. One who is an acharya has knowledge. All the traditional priests, they don't have knowledge. They don't have they are only based on rituals. They don't have knowledge. Like our spiritual sampradaya, you see all our acharyas are very knowledgeable. By contrast,
in this case, I guess. But in this case, isn't it that Arjuna was knowledgeable?
Yes, Arjuna is knowledgeable, but he's coming from the traditional sampradaya. Because Krishna taught him.
Krishna Maharaji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Vaikuntha Chanadra.
I have a question, Maharaj. Then why Krishna is speaking that in 4th chapter, Evam Prampra Praptam Idam Rajarisha Vidu Sakalena Hamata Yoga Nashta Parantapa. So that if it is a traditional one, then why Krishna is stated in that way?
Krishna used him to teach us. Krishna used him as an instrument to teach us what we need to know. So he's representing us, conditioned souls.
I mean, Maharaj, basically, I guess he's trying to say that it's mentioned Rajarishi. That they can be born in Kshatriya family also, if this Vaishnava lineage.
They are Raja Rishis, but you don't see them giving instructions to the Brahmanas. Yeah, rather, they listen to Brahmanas.
Yes, Maharaj.
A Kshatriya can also perform puja, but he cannot do jagya in the public. He can only do in his house. In the houses he can do, but not in the public. He has Brahman trade. He's also trained like a Brahmana. Only Brahmana will do outside. But the Kshatriya, he will do only in his house. So they are Raja, not just a king, but they are rishis.
Okay, Maharaj. Now it's pretty much clear. Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah. Okay, so we continue. 30 to 31. How to utilize our resources in a material world. Yeah. There are many examples given how we are able to utilize those things which are set aside for us by the Lord. This is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning, Arjuna decided that he should not fight in a battle of Kurukshetra. This was his own decision. Arjuna told the Lord that it was not possible for him to enjoy the kingdom after killing his own kinsman. This decision was based on the body because he was thinking that the body was himself and that his bodily relations or expansions were his brothers, nephews, brothers-in-law, grandfathers, and so on. Therefore, he wanted to satisfy his bodily demands. But Gita was spoken by the Lord just to change his view. And at the end, Arjuna decided to fight under the directions of the Lord when he says, I shall act according to your order. Something very special about Arjuna, which all of us should always remember. Like Priyavrata. Yeah, Priyavrata. Yes. Anyway, Arjuna. Here, Arjuna did not want to fight. And Krishna told him to fight. So, and what was the consciousness Arjuna used in fighting? Well, Krishna, this is what you want to do. Okay, let me just do it for you. No, Arjuna fought with the best of his strength. There was no reservation in him. This is very, very special. We can do so many things, but the consciousness we use in doing things matters a lot. And that is the main thing. That's the main thing, the consciousness in which you use in doing things. So Arjuna is very, very exemplary in his service to Krishna. All right, the next topic is 4. Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma, this will take us from 32 to 41. The destination is called Sanatana.
Sorry to interrupt, Maharaj. Topic 3 is missing, I think.
Huh?
Topic 30, I think paragraph 30 to 31. Yes, this one. This one we have to take.
I'll just finish with that now. How to utilize the resources in the material world. I just finished with it. You didn't get it? There are many examples given how we can utilize those things which are set aside for us by the Lord. So I finish with that. Now we text topic 4. Sanatana Dharma. And we are there. That destination is called the Sanatana sky, the eternal spiritual sky. In this material world, we find that everything is temporary. It comes into being, stays for some time, produces some byproducts, dwindles, and then vanishes. That is the law of the material world. Whether we use, as an example, this body or a piece of fruit or anything. But beyond this temporary world, there is another world of which we have information. That world consists of another nature, which is Sanatana, eternal. Jiva is also described as Sanatana, eternal. And the Lord is also described as Sanatana. In the 11th chapter, we have an intimate relationship with the Lord. And because we are all qualitatively one, the Sanatana Dharma, the sky, the Sanatana Supreme Personality, and the Sanatana living entities. The whole purpose of our Gita is to revive our Sanatana occupation, or Sanatana Dharma, which is the eternal occupation of the living entity. We are temporarily engaged in different activities, but all of these activities can be purified when we give up all these temporary activities and take up the activities which are prescribed by the Supreme Lord. That is called our pure life. Sanatana Dharma. Therefore, Sanatana Dharma does not refer to any sectarian process of religion. It is the eternal function of the living entities. Sanatana Dharma. It is not a religion. It is not a religion. It is the eternal occupation. I'll give an example, like, or let's say, the intrinsic nature of the living entity, like water. The intrinsic nature of water is liquidity. That cannot be separated from water. If you remove liquid from water, it is ice block or something else. It is no more water. The same with the heat. If you remove heat, light from fire, it is no more fire. Or chili, the pepper, it will be hot. If you remove that, it's no more. Similarly, if you remove service, Sanatana Dharma means what? Our eternal occupation with the Supreme. If you remove service from our life, we are no more living entities. It will be a different thing. We are a different thing. We have mentioned many times that if you remove service from a devotee, we are no more a devotee. We can be, if you call it something else, but not devotee. So devotional service, that is our what? Our eternal occupation. When Sanatana Goswami asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about the Swarupa of every living being, the Lord replied that the Swarupa, or the constitutional position of the living being, is the rendering of service to the Supreme Personality of God. If we analyze this statement of the Chaitanya's, we can easily see that every living being is constantly engaged in rendering service to another living being. And that we cannot change. A serves B master. B serves C master. And C serves D master, and so on. Under these circumstances, we can see that one friend serves another friend. The mother serves the son. The wife serves the husband. The husband serves the wife, and so on. If we go on searching in this spirit, it will be seen that there is no exception in the society of living beings to the activity of service. We are eternal servants, and our duty is to render service. To render service. So rendering service is a jiva sanatana dharma that we cannot change. It's our eternal. That is our eternal dharma. Rendering service. Is there any relationship you see that does exist in this material world without service? Anyone can remember any relationship that does not have service in between? Anyone can remember?
No, Maharaj.
No. So service is what? Service is the glue that connects one person to another. That's the glue. So if you remove the glue from any two objects, they have no connection. So without service, we have no connection with the special master, we have no connection with Krishna. And we have no protection. We are protected only by service. Of course, in conditional state, we can do the service to Maya, but actually service is meant for Krishna, not for Maya. Demigod worship versus Krishna worship. Kamaitaistari hirta yana. Papadantinya devata. Tam niyamam astaya prakritya niyata shvaya. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Here it is plainly said that those who are directed by lust worship the demigods and not the Supreme Lord Krishna. When we mention the name Krishna, we do not refer to any sectarian name. Krishna means the highest pleasure, and it is confirmed that the Supreme Lord is the reservoir of all storehouse of all pleasure. That is Krishna. That is Krishna. The abode of Lord Sri Krishna is described in the Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, 60th verse. Na tat basayati suryo na sasanko na pavakaha yakatwana nivatita dam paramamana. A place where there is no light, Vasayate, Surya, and Sasang. A place where there is no fire, there is no fire, Vasayate, no Surya, no sun, no Sasang, no moon. What kind of place is that? What kind of place is that? Can you hear me?
Yes, Maharaj.
You are in a place where there is no electricity, there is no fire, there is no moon. What do you find in such place?
Only darkness, only darkness, Maharaj.
Darkness. So the spiritual world is dark.
No.
Krishna's Kanti.
Look at the face.
This is from Krishna's body.
Eh?
This Krishna's Kanti in the spiritual world. And everything is self-connected.
How can you remove my ignorance? No, Krishna says here, na Basayate, na Sasanko, na Surya. This is what Krishna said here. No. So Krishna's abode, the Goloka must be dark place. I don't want to go there. This is dark. Is it not? Is it not dark?
Sri Maharaj,
No, Maharaj.
Vrindavan,
No, Maharaj.
the objects have lights on their own.
Okay, tell me what is there now. Tell me what is there. How will I see if I get there? I'm a blind person. How will I see if I got there? How will I see? How will I see Krishna? Tell me. I want to hear.
Whereas there is no moon, there is no sun, but the objects or anything, or Krishna even, have their lights of their own. And because of that, we can see anything there.
Okay.
Because Krishna is like sun. Krishna Surya Sam.
Yes, when you go to chapter 13, then you get the answer. Krishna
Bhagavad says just like for seeing the sun, we need the sunlight. Similarly, to see Krishna also, we would need the Kanti of the light coming out.
Yes, I said in chapter 13, 1-3, you get the answer. Krishna mentioned, he gave the answer. Jyotisam apita jyotis. He himself is the source of light, so he doesn't need artificial things. He's the source of light. And it's Brahman. Brahman means what? Light. All right, thank you. Next topic.
In which verse this is said?
That should be 18. 13, 18. It should be 13, 18. 18. Yeah. Have you seen it? Yeah, 18. Chapter 13, text 18, 1-8. Jyoti samapita jyoti tamasa param uchate. All right, it's on the board. It's on the screen for you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
All right.
And Maharaj, this also confirms that Krishna is not dependent on anything, material,
Yes.
sun or moon. Again, it
Yes.
is confirmed.
Yes. Thank you. All right, topic 5. I'm trying to finish it because we have many verses to cover. We'll start chapter 5 tomorrow. So test number 5 is what? He's talking about, we have risen to the spiritual sky. It will take us from 42 to 49. The spiritual sky is plain. This verse gives a description of that eternal sky. Of course, we have a material conception of the sky, and we think of it in relationship to the sun, moon, stars, and so on. But in this verse, the Lord stated that in the eternal sky, there is no need for the sun, nor for the moon, no electricity or fire of any kind, because the spiritual sky is already illuminated by the Brahmajyoti. The rays emanating from the Supreme Lord. We are trying with difficulty to reach other planets, but it is not difficult to understand the abode of the Supreme Lord. This abode is referred to as Goloka. Goloka Evanivasati Akilad Maputa. All right. Why aim for the spiritual sky? And who attains the spiritual sky? Why do we want to go there? Why we should go there? And who goes there? Nirimanamo mohajita sang dosha adyan manita vinivrita kama dwandwari vimokta sakatuka sanjayri pachanti amuda padam padayam. That padam abhyayam or eternal kingdom can be reached by one who is Nirimana Moha. Nirimana Moha. Why does this mean? What does it mean? We are after designations. Someone wants to become Sir. Someone wants to become Lord. Someone wants to become the president or a rich man or a king or something else. As long as we are attached to these designations, we are attached to the body because designations belong to the body. So who will go to this place is one who is Nirmana Moha. We must be free from all designations. Without this, we are not going to go there. We should go there because that is our original home. That is where we belong eternally. We are all foreigners here. All of us are foreigners. And we have to go to our original home. Our original home is the spiritual sky. So here the qualification for us to go there, we have to be free from all designations. All right. Next topic. remembering Krishna. Next, how to approach the Supreme Abode. One may raise the question of how one goes about approaching that abode of the Supreme Lord. Information of this is given in the 5th chapter. Sorry, in the 8th chapter. It is said there. Anta kali chamam meva smaran muktva kalivaram jahapaya ti satmat bhagam yati naste atra samsaya. And whoever at the end of his life quit his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this day is no doubt. One who thinks of Krishna at the time of his death goes to Krishna. One must remember the form of Krishna. If he quits his body thinking of this form, he surely approaches the spiritual kingdom. Madhbhavam refers to the supreme nature of the supreme being. The supreme being is Satchidananda Vigraha. That is, his form is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Our present body is not Satchidananda. It is Asat, not Sat. It is not eternal. It is perishable. It is not cheap, full of knowledge, but it is full of ignorance. We have no knowledge of the spiritual kingdom, nor do we even have perfect knowledge of this material world, where there are so many things unknown to us. The Lord, the body is also Nirananda. Instead of being full of bliss, it is full of misery. All of these miseries are experienced in the material world arise. All of the miseries we experience in the material world arise from the body, not one, but one who leaves his body thinking about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, at once attains the Satchidananda Vigraha. At once, we will attain it. How to approach it? Bhagavad Gita 8:6 also explained that the general principle that makes it possible to enter the spiritual kingdom simply by thinking of the Supreme Lord at the time of death. Jam jam ba pismarana babhan jajati anti kalivaran tam tam eva iti panteya sada tat bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his present body in his next life, he will attain to that state without fail. So we are preparing. Studying Bhagavad Gita means we are preparing ourselves so that we remember. It is not that we're going to remember Krishna at the time of death. It is not death who is going to help us to remember Krishna. It is what we have been practicing thinking of Krishna. We think of Krishna by first of all hear about Krishna attentively. If we hear properly, we will remember Krishna perfectly. We will think about Krishna perfectly, and at the time of death, we will also remember Krishna perfectly, and go back to him. We will go to the spiritual world, where we will have a eternal relationship with Krishna. In life, we are accustomed to thinking either of the material or of the spiritual energy. Now, how can we transfer our thoughts from the material energy to the spiritual energy? There are so many literatures which fill our thoughts with the material energy, newspapers, magazines, novels, etc. Our thinking, which is now absorbed in these literatures, must be transferred to the Vedic literatures. The great sages, therefore, have written so many Vedic literatures, such as the Puranas. The Puranas are not imaginative. They are historical records. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 21:22, there is a following verse. Maya Mogda Jiverana Swata Krishna Jnana Jivara Kripaya Koila Krishna Veda Purana. The forgetful living entities or conditioned souls have forgotten their relationship with the Supreme Lord. And they are engrossed in thinking of material activities, just to transfer their thinking power to the spiritual sky. Krishna Dwapayan Vyas has given a great number of Vedic literatures. First, he divided the Vedas into 4. Then he explained the Puranas. And for less capable people, he wrote the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, there is given the Bhagavad Gita. Then all Vedic literature is summarized in the Vedanta Sutra. And for future guidance, he gave a natural commentation on the Vedanta Sutra called Bhagavad. We must always engage our minds in reading these Vedic literatures, just as materialists engage their minds in reading newspapers, magazines, and so many materialistic literatures. We must transfer our reading to these literatures, which are given to us by Vyasadeva. In that way, it will be possible for us to remember the Supreme Lord at the time of death. That is the only way suggested by the Lord, and he guarantees the result. There is no doubt. Pastor started the Shukale Shu. Mom Anusmara Chat. Bayar Pita Mano Budiri, Mom, if I shall see a Samsaya. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna. At the same time, continue your prescribed duty of fight. With the activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. He does not advise Arjuna simply to remember him and give up his occupation. No. The Lord never suggests anything impractical. In this material world, in order to attain the body, one has to work, or to maintain the body, one has to work. Human society is divided according to what? Into 4 divisions of social life. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. The Brahmana class, or intelligent class, is working in one way. The Kshatriya, or administrative class, is working in another way. And the mercantile class and the laborer are all tending to their specific duties. In a human society, whether one is a laborer, merchant, administrator, or farmer, or even if one belongs to the highest class and is literally man, a scientist, or a theologian, he has to work in order to maintain his existence. The Lord is therefore Arjuna that he needs not give up his occupation, but while he is engaged in his occupation, he should remember Krishna. Yes. There is no difference between Krishna and Krishna's name. There is no difference because Krishna and Krishna's name are not different in their absolute status. There is no difference between reference and reference. Therefore, we have to practice remembering the Lord always 24 hours a day by chanting his names and molding our life's activities in such a way that we can remember him always. Prabhupada repeated this in 927. He repeated this in 1865. That we should mold our life in such a way that we remain Krishna, we remember Krishna, always remain Krishna constant 24 hours. This Prabhupada repeated it in his purport, 927 purport and 1865 purport. That means it is very, very, very important for us. Very important. Very, very important for us. So, thus the Lord says that even a merchant, a fallen woman, a laborer, or even human beings in the lowest status of life can attain the supreme. One does not. The last one, who can approach? All of us can approach the supreme. That is where I know. One does not need highly developed intelligence. The point is that anyone who accepts the principle of Bhakti Yoga and accepts the Supreme Lord as a small bound of life, as the highest target, the ultimate goal, can approach the Lord in the spiritual sky. If one adopts the principles of enunciated about Gita, he can make his life perfect and make a permanent solution to all the problems of life. Therefore, what's the conclusion? That is it. Text 7. Topic number 7. What's the conclusion? In conclusion, Bhagavad Gita is a transcendental literature which one should read very carefully. Gita śāstrī idam punyam yat patet vayana kuman. If one properly follows the instructions of Gita, the Gita Mahatmya. This is Gita Mahatmya. Gita Mahatmya. If one properly follows the instructions of Gita, one can be freed from all miseries and anxieties of life. We said it in the beginning, that if we don't study Bhagavad Gita, we would not be free from bewilderment, frustration, misery. We would never be free. If you want to be free, you must read Bhagavad Gita. It is here. It is here. One will be freed from all fears in this life, and one's next life will be spiritual. If we study Gita, what will happen? What is the result of studying Bhagavad Gita? If one properly follows the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, one can be freed from all the miseries and anxieties of life. One will be freed from all fears in this life, and one's next life will be spiritual. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all its seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. The Lord says very loudly in the last portion of our Gita, what? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam praja aham tvam sarva pavibhyo mosaisami ma suchaha. And then one may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water. But if one takes a bath, even once in a sacred Ganges water of our Gita, for him, the death of material life is altogether vanquished. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. In the present age, people are so absorbed in mundane activities that it's not possible for them to read all the Vedic literatures. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures, and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who drinks the water of the Ganges attains salvation. So what to speak of one who drinks the nectar of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is an essential nectar of the Mahabharata, and it is spoken by Lord Krishna himself, the original Vishnu. Bhagavad Gita comes from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Ganges is said to emanate from the lotus feet of the Lord. Of course, there is no difference between the mouth and the feet of the Lord, or the Supreme Lord. But from an impartial study, we can appreciate that Bhagavad Gita is even more important than the water of the Ganges. Bhagavad Gita Kita. Sarvu Pani Sadhu Gavu Dukta Gopalan Nandana. Parato Vatsa Sudhiri Bhakta Bhokta Amritam, Gita Amritam, Maharaj. This is Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita. The essence of all Upanishads is just like a cow. And Lord Krishna, who is famous as a cowhead boy, is milking this cow. Who is drinking? Arjuna is just like a cow. And learned scholars and pure devotees are to drink this nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita. Ekam sastram devaki putram gitam. Eko devo devaki putra eva. Eko mantra tasya namani dani karmapi. Ekam tasya devasya seva. In this present day, people are very much eager to have one scripture of God, one religion, and one occupation. What is that? Therefore, ekam sastram devaki putra gitam. Let there be one scripture only, one common scripture for the whole world. Bhagavad Gita. Eko devo devaki putra eva. Let there be one God for the whole world, Sri Krishna. Eko mantra tasya namani. And one hymn, one mantra, one prayer, is chanting of his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Karmapi ekam tasya devasya seva. Let it be one work only, the service of the Supreme Personality of God. Shri Krishna Bhagavan. Shri Gita Upanishad. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Can we take a break for today?
Yes, Maharaj.
What do you think? Huh?
Yes, Maharaj, as you say.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj, we need break.
Okay, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj, so much.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Thank
much, Maharaj.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Maharaj.